Hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm Christina Chandler, and you're watching Kicking It with Christina Chandler. I am here with Reverend Paul Nugent, and we are in front of the altar in the Aetherius Society here in Hollywood. Today, Paul is going to tell us about the 12 blessings. Hello, Paul.
Good morning, Christina.
How are you?
Very well, thank you.
First of all, how did you find and get interested in the Aetherius Society?
Good question. That was quite a few years ago. It was in the early 1980s in England. You can probably tell I'm English.
Yes.
It was in London. And I had, a few years beforehand, felt quite strongly that there was something missing in my life. And I wasn't sure what it was, but whatever it was, I hadn't found it. And for whatever reason, I chose to read St. Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John for the first time with any seriousness in my life. And it had obviously a very deep impact on me. I realized that here was someone, namely Jesus Christ, who was literally showing us how we needed to live, should be living on this earth, because this was what was mainly troubling me at that time. So I began to routinely go to the Anglican Church in London, mainly Westminster Abbey. Initially Westminster Abbey, I should say. Later another church in Trafalgar Square. And at the same time, I was working in the wine trade, and a fellow colleague was a member of the Aetherius Society, where they believe that Jesus spoke through the founder of the Aetherius Society, Dr. George King, in 1958. Well, many times actually, but primarily in 1958, giving a series of what we call transmissions called the 12 Blessings, which is what I am here to speak about. And so I gradually took some interest in these 12 blessings, and their power and their purity struck me extremely deeply, and I found that it was not something that I could actually ignore.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to ignore a higher power when it's so powerful, and if you're sensitive to it.
It was extremely powerful, because one thing about the 12 blessings, or rather two things about the 12 blessings. One thing is that they are a cosmic teaching, a spiritual teaching. But the other aspect is that they are a practice. They are a means of sending out spiritual energy. And in the Aetherius Society, we pray like that, so that we can send energy out through the psychic. And exactly, and in joining in with these prayers, I could feel a tremendous power going through my hands. And it was like, I likened it at the time as being like rods of steel, as energy going through my hands, and it was almost physically difficult to lower them. And that coupled with the beauty and the mysticism of these blessings, as I say, caused me to study them and take it all further.
How long did it take you to join? Like, you found out about it and then...
Yes. It took me actually 2 years. I was relatively slow, but naturally, when you hear about Jesus speaking through somebody in 1958, it's necessary to be skeptical. We also believe in the Aetherius Society that Jesus is from another planet, which also, again, required investigation. But as I investigated these teachings, and as I say, the actual participation of the 12 blessings, after a period of 2 years, as well as studying and investigating other aspects of the Aetherius Society, as I say, caused me to not to reject them, but rather accept them. Yeah. And on which note, I remember Mahatma Gandhi has a great quote. He says, "He who does not change his mind in the light of greater reason is a fool." And it's a good quote.
Very much so, actually.
It's a good quote, yes, absolutely.
Yes. And how has your life changed since before the 12 blessings and now that you're always using the 12 blessings?
Excellent, if I may say, excellent question, because the 12, people talk about a life-changing book, and I have to say in all sincerity that the 12 blessings has been for me a life-changing book, a life-changing experience.
And you want to show the book real quick?
That is the book of the 12 blessings. It's changed my life to the extent that, well, perhaps just to quickly recap, I found the Aetherius Society in my early 20s. And as I say, I was looking for something. I wasn't sure what it was. I didn't know what it was. So that number one, the Aetherius Society in general and the 12 Blessings in particular filled that gap. They answered that question. So in terms of how they have changed or affected my life, they've given me what I was looking for. And not just necessarily looking for at that time in my life, but I think what I was looking for in my life. The whole purpose of my life. The meaning. Absolutely. In fact, more than the meaning. It's been incredibly expansive. And as I say, I found these blessings over 20 years ago. They were very powerful at the time. However, in recent years, I have begun to practice these 12 blessings daily. I always used to.
Be my next question, if you practice it.
Right, and in fact now it's more than a daily practice. Each morning I try and hold 2 services of the 12 blessings. Wow. They take anywhere between about 10 and 20 minutes to hold a service of the 12 blessings. And it is just this incredibly phenomenally powerful experience, the purpose of which is not for oneself. Mm-hmm. The whole thing is an unselfish practice.
And it's to help others.
It is to help the world. It is to help humanity, to raise humanity into a greater realization, number one, of our own divinity, which is innate within all of us, but secondly, our true place in the cosmos. And to that extent, and this is one of the amazing things about the 12 Blessings, you and I, this interview is being conducted in 2007. The 12 blessings, which were given in 1958, it was said at the time, were being given 52 years ahead of their originally intended time, wow. Which of course would be 2010. So they are revolutionary for humanity in their content, what they explain to us about our place in this vast and living, incredible and beautiful cosmos.
Yeah, and thank God it did come earlier, actually, especially for people who believe in the world changes, which has been recorded to be 2012. So.
Right, absolutely. 2012, certainly by the Mayan calendar. Yeah. And I think for sure we will see changes in that whole period, whether it's 2010, 11, 12, whatever. It seems to be a process, but certainly coming to some critical point.
And does the Aetherius Society see that? And do you guys do 12 blessings for that event, or have you?
We don't do 12 blessings for any specific event per se. Our members throughout the world practice the blessings like myself on a daily basis, certainly on a weekly basis. We have services here in Hollywood and in all of our centers around the world. But here in Hollywood, we have a weekly service of the 12 blessings to which anybody is welcome to come. And as I said, it took me 2 years of investigation. But at the end of the day, I couldn't ignore it.
Not something so positive, if you're open to it and you want it.
Absolutely. Positive for sure, but it's transcending. It's positive in a deeply mystical spiritual sense, going right to the very core of one's own being and into one's whole sort of past life and future life.
And parallel
life.
Mm-hmm. Which, if as the Buddhists believe that everything's happening all at once, like it's not really the past or the future; it's all the now.
Again, absolutely phenomenal concept. Which. Again, the 12 Blessings is eye-opening into that. And in fact, just recently, a few days ago, I had that exact same experience of past and future, very much in the present. Time is a peculiar thing. We have a very limited understanding of time.